It's a Lone Ranger Ubass conversion. A Supertone, made by Supertone. You can kind of see the label in there. From the 1950s is what I'm guessing. They made these cowboy guitars, the Lone Rangers and such in the 30s and 40s. And I believe this one came from the 50s. And it's in really solid shape. It's scratched up. You know, somebody played it, which is rare. I mean, a lot of these, nobody ever really played it. It has your standard solid birch body and poplar neck. It's a big, hard V neck, and it's been altered to get the Ubass components onto it to make it work as a Ubass. It originally had a your typical flat top bridge. It didn't have a trapeze, so this is big to cover up a giant scar underneath there for the original bridge was. It plays well and sounds great. Got your standard Ubass components, the preamp and control over here with a built-in tuner, and your battery goes down here where the jack is, and it shuts off when you pull the jack out. There's issues with these Ubasses that everybody complains about. Number one is the strings. It takes forever for them to stretch out because they're really loose, right? They're rubber strings. Now they make other strings. Since these things came out, I think maybe almost 12, 15 years ago, different companies have made different strings, and they're generally nylon based, and they have wraps around them. There's other types of rubber strings. You do get bad strings every now and then. I've had a few bad strings, and it's really frustrating because everything intonates perfectly, and then you have four intonate and then one doesn't, and that makes no sense because, you know, one can't be that far off. Change that string, put a good one on there, and it works perfect. So I've had plenty of bad strings in these sets that I've got. So, but the good thing is once you get a good set, they last forever because there's hardly any stress on them. The other thing that's an issue with them is that they can have uneven strings, and that's because there's not a whole lot of downforce on the piezo unit under the bridge. So what I have done is, you can see there's a couple screws in there. Those are actually pushing down on the bridge to seat it down onto that piezo the way it should be. And that way you don't have one dead string because it's got even amount of pressure across the whole bridge. If it were a guitar, it wouldn't be the same issue because there's a whole lot more tension, a lot more downforce on the bridge, so that it overcomes any kind of wonkiness that the bridge and piezo setup can cause. So I've done my best to iron out a lot of the issues on these things. They're really a whole lot of fun. This one's 21.5 inches. This is right in the ballpark with any Ubass out there that other companies make. I've been trying to expand the scale, and I have other Ubass conversions that are longer, but these just, you know, this is the perfect instrument. I mean, the perfect thing to convert because it's the right size, and nobody plays these things. I mean, they're great guitars, but they're just considered decorative. And so I like the fact that this can now be used again. It's not just a wall hanger. It can be used, whereas it wasn't going to be used in the condition that it was before. And now it's a useful instrument. And you know, it's the Lone Ranger. Look, you got the Lone Ranger, you got Silver, his horse. There's Tonto, and Tonto's horse was Scout. So come on, it's a glorious thing. It's the Lone Ranger Ubass conversion.